Yeah, I've been known to have problems with the sweaty nutsack. Hello, everybody. This week's Big Dave and Company podcast will feature us playing it straight as we talk about Brad from Nashville and our experience at Morningwood Estate. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Big Dave and Company podcast. I am your host, Big Dave. With me, as usual, is all of our company, the lovely Emily, Sarah Tance, a.k.a. Cumberbund, from the Federal Communications.
You can't say that because Cumberbund that's funny. Can't do funny, Dave.
In case you didn't know, Sarah Tance came in recently and told us that we could not be entertaining.
We weren't properly licensed to be entertaining.
One of our many unpaid interns, another.
But our rebuttal to that was that we were not entertaining.
No, not at all. We're stupid and we
right.
Make
but
you.
She thought we were.
And so by FCC rule, we cannot be entertaining until our licensure is straight. So that should be taken care of hopefully by next week.
Because we're properly licensed as more of a news and informational podcast. But not an entertaining.
Entertaining. So we can't be entertaining. So
just purely informational.
So for your information, Sarah Tance is here. As is, who else would be here? You are here.
I'm here.
Herbie the Wonder Dog is here, being very, very boring under the table.
Very informational.
And that informational voice you hear is my technical producer, Mike Alicious, who is the curator of the turtle exhibit at the friendly local zoo.
That's true.
That's wonderful. What kind of turtles do you have?
Snapping, painted, Galapagos.
Is that a type of turtle, the Galapagos turtle? So, whoa! Settle down. I was momentarily entertained.
Sorry. I was laughing.
That's
there.
just wonderful.
Laughing is not allowed.
Laughter
Unless
is
we're
entertaining.
talking about
laughter.
Laughing,
which we were not. We were talking about turtles, which are not a very entertaining thing unless you're a turtleologist, or perhaps Charles
Which I'm not.
Or Charles Barkley. But you are the curator.
I have nothing else to say about it. This not entertaining. So.
Unentertaining podcast today, brought to you, as always, by the good folks at Morningwood Estate.
This is shaping up to be the worst podcast we've ever done.
We need to announce, the good news is that we have one of the most wonderful events, but least entertaining events in the history of man coming up. And that, of course, is the annual Morningwood Estate Telethon.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. It's like Jerry Lewis, but different.
Much worse.
Much less. If you can imagine, it's less entertaining.
You can see it on August 21st, 2010 on CW network stations across the country. Hosted this year by that guy from Sugar Ray who won't go away, even though he's not famous. We
Good
can't
for him.
tell more about him because he's entertaining.
Right. He's an entertainer.
Mm-hmm. But
what are they raising money for?
Morningwood Estates.
But like for what?
Maintenance. Salary.
To cover their costs.
Stop laughing. Stop. Stop it. Knock it off. Compose yourself before Sarah is getting very upset.
She almost pulled our plug there.
Miss Tance is getting very upset with us in the corner. So the Morningwood Estate Telethon, the only publicly funded private English estate in North America, needs your help to continue with its operating costs.
No, actually it says here that they need your help to continue with their record earnings this year. So it's not that they're struggling, it's that they want to make record earnings again this year. So good for them.
So tune in August 21st.
Tune in.
We'll be there.
Dig deep.
We're going to be answering telephones.
I'm not.
I'm going to be answering telephones. All of them.
I'm busy with the turtles.
Well, I suppose this is the point in the podcast when we normally would do the news.
But we're not going to?
No, we're going to.
Okay. So is that my cue? Because normally you do that in a much more entertaining way.
Yeah, so I'll say it's time for the news, and then you can cue the music.
Was that you saying?
I think what we should do, though, is you should not cue the music because it's very entertaining music.
Maybe I can find some different music.
Okay,
I'll have to try to do that post-production, though.
It's time for the news. Stop your laughter. You're going to get us pulled off the air.
So what,
Pulled off the air, I say.
What unentertaining, purely informational news article do you have this week?
This is a purely news informational article. Sorry about that, lovers of the English language. This is an article from Ohio, the least entertaining state in the union,
It says that right on their license plates.
and on their seal. Their state seal is just blue with some gold leaf fringe, and it says Ohio, high in the middle and round on both ends. Sorry, that was a joke. Sorry. This also news article is about one of our other favorite things in the world, and that, of course, is church. Dancers from Ohio Strip Club protest at church.
Good for them. No, this is purely informational.
Purely informational.
Because I can see where this could be entertaining.
It's not entertaining. It's
Okay.
informational. This is news as
I
it
don't
happens
I don't want to get the plug pulled.
in Warsaw, Ohio.
Okay.
The owner of an Ohio strip club and some of his dancers have been protesting at a church that has done the same to them for 4 years. Women in bikinis sat in camp chairs Sunday outside the New Beginnings Ministries Church in Warsaw, about 60 miles northeast of Columbus. Tommy George owns the Foxhole Strip Club in nearby Newcastle. He says he and his employees decided to start coming to the church because they were fed up. George says the church's pastor, Bill Dunphy, and his congregation have bothered the club's weekend patrons. He says they come armed with bullhorns, signs, and video cameras for posting customers' license plates numbers online. Dunphy calls George a, quote, parasite, and says seeing the protesters outside the church has strengthened the resolve of his flock.
I'm sure
That's all.
that
That was not
the-
entertaining at all.
That the male, I don't know if this might be entertaining, but I'm sure that the male clientele at the church, the congregation has probably increased.
The men in the flock.
Right, since they've had these bikini-clad women
That may have
outside.
happened. Hard news stories like this one tend to.
Gripping news article.
Yes. Hard,
I have to say,
gripping,
Dave, this is very hard to do.
oily news articles like this one tend to bring men into the church areas. So, congratulations to both the dirty, dirty strippers and the dirty, dirty parishioners for keeping up their American spirit of non-entertaining, hard, factual news protests.
So, who's that news article brought to us by today?
News brought to you today by Abe Lincoln brand condoms. From our newest line of flavored lube to our famous rail splitter and bearded man models of condom, let Abe Lincoln emancipate your sex life today. Abe Lincoln brand condoms for sale in stores near you. Stop laughing. Stop it. That's borderline. You're entertaining me. I'm feeling entertained. You need to bleep out all this laughter post-production.
Did you say logs?
Rail Splitter brand. Rail Splitter and Bearded Man are their two number one. My, it's a good thing that this is not a web show on a webcam, or our readers would be thoroughly entertained. That is going to be the longest beep in the history of man in post-production.
That quite possibly could be the least entertaining ad I've ever heard.
That's not entertaining at all.
Could you read that
Once
one more
again,
time for me?
Abe Lincoln brand
Because
condoms.
I tuned out right after Rail Splitter.
Abe Lincoln brand condoms. Let Abe Lincoln emancipate your sex life today.
Whew.
They want just me to let you know that they will definitely keep your union intact
That's good.
without having
Good.
any new countries being formed.
4score.
Have you ever used their Rail Splitter brand product?
I've never used their 4score and 7 year ago lube either.
That's wonderful.
That's all helps you last.
Yes.
It's long lasting.
4 and 7 years. So thank you to Abe Lincoln brand condoms. Well, it's time we need to pay a nod to one of our listeners. One of our most prized listeners today.
But in an unentertaining way.
In a very unentertaining
Boy,
way.
I really hope that license comes through for next week.
Brad from Nashville has sent us some emails. You can actually look into, if you want to know more about Brad at Nashville, he has his own blog.
He does.
It's called Gotta Keep 'Em
Wait,
Bloggerated.
hold on. Is it an entertaining blog? Probably is. I don't even know if we can even mention
yes, we can. We cannot be entertaining. That does not mean we cannot endorse things which are.
it. Okay.
Yes.
I think you may have found a loophole.
So,
What if we endorse ourselves?
we would be endorsing in something that's factual and non-entertaining.
We'd be endorsing in a factual way.
Now, these are actual, real, factual emails that we received from Brad. Go check out his blog at Gotta Keep 'Em Bloggerated. He's actually at bradperella.blogspot.com. Just look any of those things up, and you'll have a chance of finding him on one of our many high-quality neighborhood
Also,
search
when
engines.
you type in Mexican Donkey Show, he gets some hits on that too. I'm not really sure what the correlation is there.
That's you said donkey show. That's entertainment.
Oh,
You're just aiming to get us pulled from the airwaves,
I
aren't
don't
you?
know when I'm being entertaining.
Let me tell you something, okay? We were number 5,268,312 on iTunes' most popular download list last week. That's not something to mess with your frivolity and good times.
Okay, I apologize.
Thank you.
Sarah, Miss Tance, I apologize.
This and the Kim Jong-il Metal Foundry, the glorious supreme leader of all metal foundries in Pyongyang, North Korea, are the only things I have. Also the private jet and yacht.
And the Media Empire.
And the media empire.
With the podcast store and blog.
Speaking
and
of the media
Facebook
empire,
page and
I had a fantastic factual
life coach services.
Sure.
So really,
Those are all the things I have, though.
you
Those,
have
that's
a
it.
lot.
That's it, though. I have to tell you, I found a fantastic news article for us this week,
Okay.
and I took it.
I thought we already read the news article.
Well, I know that one was fantastic, but not entertaining. I had another super factual, unentertaining one that I took to use at BigDaveandCompany.com.
So wait a minute. Now you're taking things away from the podcast
I kept it like
to use on your blog?
I kept it as if I was a squirrel waiting for the winter to come.
I'm not sure how you're sacrificing the blog for the betterment of you're sacrificing the podcast for the betterment of your blog.
That's what I said.
That's hurting me.
But that they run in tandem. They're tandem together.
So you're saying
They
one
are
could
off
not
one.
exist without the other.
Correct.
So how did the blog work before you had the podcast?
It didn't.
Oh,
No.
it was just words on a page.
Yeah, nobody read it unless I posted a picture, and then people just looked at the picture.
Hmm. So back to Brad from Nashville.
Anyway, Brad from Nashville has written us some emails.
Long-time listener,
Not first-time email.
not first-time email.
I want to start. He wrote us last week, for those of you who don't know, in a very unentertaining and factual way, we made our first political endorsement
We did. Basil Marceau,
for governor of Tennessee.
who's not at all entertaining.
No, but he's a very innovative politician. We're not going to go. If you want to hear about his platform and what we had to say about it, tune into last week's unentertaining factual broadcast.
Actually, that was a pretty entertaining show.
Shh. But Brad wrote in. Brad, obviously a Tennessee resident, up to date on Tennessee politics, wrote in that he received 0% of the vote with 3,526 votes cast.
Which is about 3,525 more than I thought he would get.
Yes.
But I did vote several times.
First of all, if you're using simply integers and round numbers, he did receive 0%. I'm sure this is more like 0.00000000002 or 1. 3,526 votes out of 11 billion cast.
Like total votes cast in the entire state of Tennessee.
So I apparently we gave him the 5-finger death punch.
And
of
probably 3,500 of those were accidentally filled in the wrong circle.
Yes, there were
Probably.
Pos-
I mean, there's
possibly.
a
There
percentage
was also
here that
some-
was accidental.
Sure, there's a plus or minus 2%, so he may have gotten as high as 2%. He may have gotten as low as minus 2% of the vote. So, good luck with that, Basil Marceau, Mr. Marceau. We wish you the best of luck in the next election that you run in, which I'm sure is the next one happening.
Whatever, yeah. Chief of police or
So,
something.
thank you to Brad for that. He also wrote us in. We spoke about the new Shaquille O'Neal show. Was it last week or a couple weeks ago? Some way, in an unentertaining fashion, we talked about what the show Shaq-averse, where Shaq was going to be taking on people at what they're best at. So, for instance, he would try to have a podcast that was more popular than ours. Or
And this week it could be more entertaining than ours. And it probably
well, ours was not entertaining at all.
Right.
It's factual.
So I saw one of the episodes.
Yes, how did you
And,
feel about it?
Well, it was actually pretty good. I was surprised.
So it was entertaining for you.
It was.
Okay.
But I won't talk about the entertaining part. I'll just give you the facts.
Yes.
The facts were that he drove a NASCAR, a stock car,
Sure.
against Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And how did that work out for him?
Worked out poorly.
Okay.
He lost. He
Okay.
had 2 races. He lost both.
Mm-hmm.
Dale
Badly?
Well, Dale Earnhardt gave him a 1-lap lead in the
Okay.
first race.
Okay.
And he had 5. It was a 5-lap race. So Dale had to lap him in order to win.
Sure.
And he did.
Several times, probably.
The second one was like a 10-lap race. Gave him a 1-lap lead. Dale had to pit twice,
Oh,
take 4 tires, and he still beat him.
wow.
So, but they had to make a special car
Because
for
Shaq
him.
weighs 3 times as much
And
as
he's
Dale
very
Jr.
tall, and
Very
they had to
tall.
put a hatch on the roof. He actually had to get in through the roof.
Oh, wow.
Because he couldn't get in through the window,
Wow.
and the seat was way back, and
Um,
it was actually it was very well done. Actually.
sure, and very factual.
Mhm.
I would actually like to see...
But he is going to take on Charles Barkley at
what?
golf.
Oh, at golf.
At golf.
That shall be interesting. You know what I believe would be interesting? I would like to know, through scientific experiment, who can produce more metal in the course of one day, Shaquille O'Neal or the Kim Jong-il Metal Foundry, the
It'd be very
glorious
close.
supreme leader of all metal foundries.
It would be very close.
I would like to see that.
So
Anyway,
what did Brad tell us about
because
Shaq?
we were talking about Shaq and his new upcoming show, Brad took the time to look up some Shaquille O'Neal quotes for us.
Is he trying to weasel a position in as an unpaid intern?
I don't know
This is the
why
kind of
he
stuff
could
that
do-
the interns should be doing,
But they
aren't.
don't. Everyone knows our interns are essentially useless.
Worthless.
Yes. I'm not going to read them all
I think
to you.
one of the interns is the person who turned us in for having the improper license.
I would suspect so. Either that or Miss Tance was able to work through her in-basket full of...
Could be.
Let's see.
You're
here.
not going to be able to read any of these. They're entertaining.
Well, some of them are factual.
Well, they're all factual because they're all quotes.
Such as this one.
They're all quotes.
I've won at every level except college and pro.
Okay. Purely
Now,
the facts there.
That's a fact, and we should really go ahead and explain that there are only 3 levels generally of basketball in America: high school, college, and professional. So, what else does he have to say? He likened the offense of one of his teams. Our offense is like the Pythagorean theorem. There is no answer.
That sounds very, very factual and very unentertaining.
I mean, let's be honest. He's talking about geometry, and that's entertaining for very few. He goes on to speak about pie. We're focusing on the whole pie, not a slice. Factual statement. A slice is good, but it's not enough to get you fat. That's up for debate. Non-entertaining debate, of course. We're trying to get fat.
And he's referring to winning
Winning
the
the
title.
NBA title.
Right.
He also goes on to say, regarding the scientific method, some things you can't question, like you can't question why 2 + 2 is 4, so don't question it, don't try to look it up. I don't know who made it. All I know is it was put in my head that 2 + 2 is 4, so certain things happen. Why does it rain? Why am I so sexy? I don't know. Those are his thoughts on the
Interesting.
scientific theory.
I have a good, interesting microwave reference here.
Sure.
Because microwaves are very unentertaining. They shot the ball well early. What comes out of the microwave hot doesn't always stay hot. I know because I eat a lot of bagels in the morning.
Bagels are our breakfast food.
So he doesn't toast the bagels.
Microwaves
He
them.
microwaves them.
We can infer that through inference. So those are some of our
These
favorite
are all
Shaq
direct
quotes.
quotes in an unentertaining way.
Brought to us from our good friend Brad in Nashville. You can see Brad's thoughts, ideas, and lots of flames that got to keep him bloggerate at bradperella.blogspot.com. Now, we all know that at times people locked in a bond of friendship have arguments with
It
one
happens.
another.
We've
happens
done
from
it.
time to time. So, Brad has taken the time to drop us a line at podcast@bigdaveandcompany.com, where you may send all your thoughts, questions, and concerns regarding this podcast.
And all your nudie pictures, too.
No, those not.
I'm sorry.
But if they're done in a non-entertaining way,
Okay.
of course. So, and he sends to us. This is regarding our fabulous contest that we are running right now.
The book essay.
The book you can get if you write us an essay about how it will change your life. We will send you the Mr. T versus Chuck Norris 400 facts about the history or about the best dudes in the history of ever by Ian Spector. Brad writes, in regards to the book essay contest, I want to fight my case here.
Because he wrote in early.
A fantastic essay.
Yeah.
I was the only one to write an essay on time, which he put in all capitals. Brad, I do not appreciate being shouted at.
He's yelling. It's not nice.
And I think that should go a long way in the decision process. It also should be noted that there were specific guidelines, again with the yelling, to be followed in regards to the essay contest, ones in which I followed, and the presumably only other person who was entered did not follow, again, yelling.
See, now, he is making a presumption there that only 2 people have entered. In fact, we've received literally
more than
several entries.
We even tried to use the Pythagorean theorem to figure it out.
We did, but there was no answer.
But at least he admits that he's making a presumption. I also feel that since your podcast was aired and the contest was open months ago, which is true, but again, he yelled months in capital.
Right. So actually it would be read, I feel that since your podcast was aired and the contest was open months ago, the fact that...
That was slightly entertaining, though.
Oh.
The fact that no one else wrote in an essay until this past week should indicate that no one else wants this book as badly as I do. Now, I believe other people have wrote. I wrote an essay.
You wrote it, and I know that
Lady Rebecca wrote an essay.
You want this book at least
thousands
as badly
of Americans.
as
I have a much bigger financial stake in getting this book than
True.
he does. If they wanted it badly enough, they would have wrote in immediately, as I did.
True.
Presumable, but a good point.
Okay.
A good debate. When judging the essay contest, I just want you to keep all of this in mind. Also, if I don't win the essay contest, the decision maker is a taint wrangler.
Oh, but you can't say that. That's entertaining.
I have some thoughts regarding this.
You cannot say taint wrangler.
Okay. Also, if I don't win the essay contest, this decision maker is a beep.
There you go. Thank you.
I have some thoughts about this email.
Okay. First of all, he should be automatically disqualified because this could be regarded as a second essay entry.
We did not put a cap on multiple entries, though.
I think it goes without saying.
Well, we didn't give that as a specific guideline.
Okay. So we'll let it pass. But he does say that like right at the beginning there. I mean,
first of all, I don't believe we ever gave a time frame.
we never did.
So, I'm sorry, Brad, you're wrong about that one. Although you were prompt in your
Very
issues,
prompt.
and we appreciate that.
We do appreciate that.
And that should go as a factor in the decision process.
And it will.
It should be noted that there were specific guidelines. Correct, there were. He followed, and the other person...
The other 2 people both followed. I
right.
would say.
I believe they were within
The other 2 that we read on the air.
There were some that did not follow the guidelines.
And they were immediately disqualified.
And we kept the nudie pictures.
We did.
He taking issue with the length of the contest. Well, sometimes you have to... It takes a long time to figure these things out. So that... I don't blame him for pleading his case. I do...
Plus, I don't think that name calling...
is helpful, but I do appreciate that he used our method.
He did
for
use
name
the
calling.
Big Dave method, but it's just not appropriate here to call somebody a,
Beep.
blankety blank because if he doesn't win. So he's preemptively
Upset. And he's yelling. But
Although he did not capitalize taint wrangler.
beep.
Sorry. Beep. He did not capitalize the word. The word he... Stop. You're being entertaining. Knock it off.
No, I'm attempting to take all the entertaining words out of your mouth.
It's because I'm constantly entertaining.
But we thank you for writing in.
So basically, Brad, I guess what we're saying is go fuck yourself.
Wow, that was harsh.
But not entertaining.
But thank you very much for writing in. Brad's emails today brought to you by Vladimir's Russian Restaurant. Now featuring beets and cream in every dish. That's Vladimir's Russian Restaurant on Route 203, Germantown, South Carolina. Thank you very much.
I got nothing. I would say something there normally, but it would be entertaining.
Thank you to Vladimir. So, we have a small amount of time left, Michaelicious.
What are we going to fill it with?
Well, I don't want to be entertaining.
Polka music? That's not entertaining.
That's entertaining to some people.
Not to us. Not to our listeners.
I think we should probably mention our time spent this past weekend as the unofficial Grand Marshals of the Morningwood Estate Summer Parade.
But parades are entertaining. But marshalling is not necessarily.
Right.
So
we're just going to give factual statements about the things that occurred
okay. I think
while
that'll
we
be
were
okay.
there.
Sarah Tance is nodding yes.
Yes,
as long as we remain factual.
As long as we say facts.
Okay.
And we don't aim for entertainment, we should be okay.
So what are some facts then?
Well, we
were at a parade and we were marshals.
We were the unofficial Grand Marshals at
Correct.
the Morningwood Estate. Every year, Morningwood Estate holds a summer parade to celebrate the summertime.
You said that in an entertaining way.
To celebrate
your voice
to
went up
celebrate
there.
the summertime.
Thank you.
And they unofficially asked us to be marshals. Now, there were some problems with the parade. There was only 2 floats this year, and Morningwood Estate did not actually enter a float.
It's because it's very expensive to enter a float.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So tune into the telethon, August
Right.
21st. They did. They also forgot to get us a car to sit in for the grand marshalling. I've never sat on the back of one of those little Shriner Volkswagen vehicles, but it was an experience.
it was as uncomfortable as you can imagine.
There was
it would
both
be.
of us there,
Mhm.
and
And Big Dave's a big. They don't call him Big Dave because he's a little guy.
No,
And I would say I'm of less than average stature.
and I sat on Mike Alicius's lap the entire parade route,
So it was interesting.
which was 37 laps around the fountain at Morningwood Estate
With two floats.
with 2 floats, and us in the Shriner car.
See, now the way you say that, it paints a picture of something that could be humorous.
I'm painting a factual picture of what occurred.
Okay,
Would you like to describe the floats, or would you like me to?
go ahead.
The first float was put in by the Morningwood Estate Area 4-H Club, which is, generally 4-H clubs are named as such because they're, the Tri-County area. Well, this
Correct.
one encompasses all the areas around Morningwood Estate.
Which is vast.
So, and they had a John Deere tractor pulling a flatbed trailer,
Like a hay trailer.
like a hay trailer,
hay wagon.
but not with the sides up.
Right.
And on that hay wagon were about 40 4-H kids, and then it was pulling a cow behind it.
And that was it.
That was the float.
No candy.
They did not throw candy.
No.
There was things thrown at them, though, and it was pretty horrendous.
And that was the first float.
That was the first float. That came behind us in the Shriner Mobile.
The second float.
Mm-hmm. The second float was a giant papier-mâché Magnum PI being pulled by an Oldsmobile Cutlass 442.
And that was slightly...
That was an Oldsmobile 442 from the 1980s. It was a 1985 version.
I didn't know they had
There were very few
442,
made.
Like, none.
No, there was like 1,000,
Okay.
perhaps.
So, and then the Magnum PI, which you can imagine with the big mustache and...
Parade was ended early, though.
I would have thought that it would have been pulled by like a Ferrari because...
No Oldsmobile.
Or a helicopter.
Sure, no. There was no TC. It was just Magnum. He was actually...
But he's not really Magnum. It was a
it was a
papier-mâché
papier-mâché
representation.
He was smoking marijuana and betting on the 5-2 Quinella at the track.
I don't know what that is.
That's a betting term.
No, marijuana. What is that?
It's a drug, a recreational drug, medicinal for some people.
Like aspirin?
Yes,
I take aspirin recreational.
it's just like aspirin.
Okay.
It's like aspirin leaf that you would take. So that was the float. There were some positives. Factually, I could throw candy from our car across the fountain and then pick it up when we got there on the other side. I did that several times. Really cut down on the amount of candy I had to throw. And then, also when the vehicle towing the Magnum float broke down.
Which Oldsmobiles do.
And our Shriner car almost had a tail end accident with the Magnum PI float.
So I would say, all in all, it was
A spectacularly unsuccessful parade.
They did have some fantastic marshals.
We were great as marshals, and I still have my sash.
So better luck next year.
Thank you to the good folks at Morningwood Estate. We'd love to do it again.
I wouldn't. I don't ever have to do that.
Speaking of Morningwood Estate, the Morningwood Estate Telethon can be seen August 21st, 2010 on CW network stations across the country, hosted by that annoying guy from Sugar Ray. Make sure to fill out your donation cards so they can clean up from the fire at the parade.
And don't forget to wake up with Morningwood.
Morningwood Estate Parade Story brought to you by Jingo's Fireworks Emporium and Porcelain Doll Outlet Center. 2 miles from the freeway in Elko, Nevada. Get all of your mass explosion and precious figurine needs met instantly at Jingo's Firework Emporium and Porcelain Doll Outlet Center. Again, 2 miles from the freeway in Elko, Nevada, now featuring the full line of Abe Lincoln brand condoms. So, thank you to the good folks at Jingo's. Anyway, anything else you want to say? We're almost out of time.
I really hope that next week our license is in order, because I don't think I could do this.
Yeah, we thank you.
And
for your
editing
patience.
this is going to just be hell.
Mm-hmm.
Because listening to your voice, it's going to put me to sleep.
Sucks to be you.
It sucks.
Anyway, I echo his sentiments. I would like to thank everyone for sticking through this in this difficult and dark history at the Big Dave and Company podcast. I'd like to encourage you to follow us on Facebook, to follow us on Twitter, to shop at the Big Dave and Company podcast store. You can find links to all of those at www.bigdaveandcompany.com.
If you're looking for something for your significant other, nothing says I love you like a Big Dave bumper sticker.
Mm-hmm. And nothing is less entertaining.
Correct.
So, on behalf of Mike Alicious, the other company, including but not limited to the unpaid interns, Herbie the unentertaining wonder dog, Miss Tance from the Federal Communications Commission, and whoever else I may have forgotten, thank you for listening. We will be back and hopefully entertaining next week. Next week, Mike is going to try to get you to believe that I said I watched too much Dancing with the Stars.
He did.
As we return to entertaining form at the Big Dave and Company podcast.
I should have had it recording, because he fucking said it.
God, I wish we had some sort of technical producer to make sure shit happened around here. Next week on the Big Dave and Company podcast, we attempt to explain to you why doing outtakes outros is the hardest part of our job.
That was an out. You just made an outtake.